Welcome, one and all, to the FLB show. Oh my gosh, there's just so much that happened in this series that we have to talk about. But before we get started, hi, I'm FLB. Don't mind my voice. I've been screaming a lot in the past 3 days with what I've been witnessing from one Jimmy Butler and this Heat team. So my voice may be a little bit off, but I couldn't get past this without putting out a video, and I couldn't get that in because that didn't want to render fast enough. So we're gonna try to get this out over on the stream, and probably chop this up a little bit later. Make it a little bit more editing and post that as a video because I know everybody doesn't like streams. But we're also gonna be streaming more consistently, so hit that like button. So hit that like button, so this can probably get pushed a little bit more in the algorithm because that really does help. Hit that subscribe button. We're gonna be doing this probably a little bit more like 2-3 times a week, just talking about what happened the previous night and what goes on. But today we're going to be talking about Jimmy and what he just pulled off in this series. This shooting spike that happened with the Miami Heat, complete and utter failure from the Milwaukee Bucks on their side of things. Bam, and how he worried me a little bit, but he also restored a lot of my faith in him from how he played in those last two games, especially this last game's fourth quarter. We've got to talk about the others: Caleb, Gabe, Kyle, Duncan, Max, all of them, and how consistent they were in keeping us in this series. And then we're gonna go to some of the Heat Knicks stuff and see how well that is. So we're gonna try to knock out probably like Jimmy Butler stuff entirely about the Heat, Bucks, and Knicks. So probably about 4 videos in this one thing. So we're probably gonna be here for about a little bit over an hour. But first things first, Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler came to these NBA playoffs with a little bit to prove. You had a bunch of people coming in talking about questioning if he's really that type of player in the NBA playoffs. Well, people seem to want to bring up 2021, but seem to forget that not only did the Miami, every single team that made it far in the bubble, the next season completely fell off a cliff, whether it's due to injuries or just exhaustion. The Heat were one of those teams that made it to the NBA Finals, and Jimmy was playing hurt in that series. And just like the Lakers, just like the Nuggets, just like the Celtics, all out in the first round. I know the Heat went out in the sweep, and that sucks. Cool, but just just looking at everything in totality, yes, this Jimmy Butler and the Heat overall were very underwhelming in 2021. But I don't think it's disingenuous to call him to call him one of the best playoff risers in the league even before this. You look at the series in the Chicago Bulls versus Boston a couple years ago, where the Bulls came in as I think an eighth or seventh seed and was about to beat them before Rajon Rondo got injured. He was playing well in that series too. He was a large part of the reason why the 76ers was in that Raptors series. He was the one handling the ball down the stretch and making those decisions at those times. I don't have to say anything about the bubble run. Sure, there wasn't these explosions of games in other different series, but you really didn't need to. Goran was a consistent scorer. Bam was basically having his way with every single big from every single other team because nobody could really guard him in that series. Tyler was showing that he was still one of the better rookies in the NBA. Duncan was this first season shooting 45% from three, so he was on a heater at that time. He didn't really need to put up these performances because we had the personnel to keep us in these games. And normally when you needed somebody to get you out of the gut in the fourth quarter, Jimmy was that guy in the bubble. And then when the NBA Finals came, Bam went down. Goran was the same. When he needed to put on these performances, what happened? Exactly. Now you get to 2022 last year, where start out game 2 of the Atlanta Hawks series, 45. Put the Atlanta Hawks away in 5. Absolute amazing performance from Jimmy in that series. You go to the 76ers series, Joel Embiid again down, smells blood in the water. Game, was it 2 or 4? I can't remember. One of the games in Philly, I don't think it was a closeout one. Down and going into the fourth quarter, this man puts up 36 that game and literally seals the series for us. And overall, putting on multiple 40-point performances. And then we'd have to go talk about Boston. Man was having a party for a good part of that season. It's sad that he didn't even get to play one of those games. But and then you have this year where he's treating Drew Holiday, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Brook Lopez like traffic cones. Yeah, it's It's quite insane what I'm seeing him do now. Like, this is beyond what even I expected from him, and it's genuinely amazing. 98 points within 2 games is kind of crazy. Talking this shit to Drew, down 6, 2.5 minutes left. There's a very large chance that you lose this game, and you publicly tell this man you own him. And then to win, you tell this man you own him up while you're down 6, and then win this game, dropping another 42 performance after dropping 56 is absolutely insane. Shooting 35% in the regular season on 1.6 attempts, and coming in the playoffs shooting 44% on nearly 5.5 attempts is nuts. Is nut type shit. Getting fouled on a game winner that you pushed off on, but the ref say, hey, Pat Connaughton fouled him first. So I'm going to go by what the ref said here, since that was the excuse the Bucks fans want to have. Oh my God, the push off. Ref said y'all fouled first. So they get fouled on the game-winning layup. You falling down, chuck it up. It's just absolutely amazing. And then the elite defense, starting out this game with that block on Grayson Allen for that fast break dunk. All the steal. The one play we got the steal, threw it behind the back pass to Max Strus, got back in bounds. Oh my God. It's just insane what we saw this man pull off this series. There's nothing else you can say about it. Genuinely, it's probably the best performance I've ever seen from an individual. I watched LeBron's performance against the Celtics. When we rank these performances, it gets a little murky in certain places. Of course, I have these key performances, I should say, but overall, just playoff performances. This is above. The reason I have this one probably above LeBron's 45, that 56-point game, above that 45 in Boston. Yes, the stakes are higher for LeBron, but the Heat had that game wrapped up by halftime. He had 30 by half. Like, they already knew that was done. There's not in that game. That was a must-win game because you go back to Milwaukee down, just tied the series. That's a huge momentum shift. They feel comfortable now. They were scared this game. They wouldn't have been scared if the series is tied 2-2. So you go back to Milwaukee. If you have to go back to Milwaukee to close this out, or you to be tied 2-2. And now, every single point this team, every single one of them, you need to win this game. Come out lazy on offense. Here he comes. 22 in the first quarter, 11 in the third, 21 in the last 7 minutes of that game. Absolutely masterful shit from Jimmy. Can't talk enough about it. Now we're going to talk about overall the Heat shooting as a team. The problem with me with the Heat shooting overall as a team is that during the second half of the season, after the All-Star break, I would say end of February to the rest of the season after that, the Heat shot 38% from three. That would make them, I think, 7th in the second half of the season. That was after we got K-Love and all of that. The shooting percentages jumped for everyone in that second half of the season. It's like overall we shot 34%, but it seems like these guys finally found their rhythm and found their shot around the second half of the season. We look at it, Tyler, even though we don't have him unless we make the NBA Finals, 37% to 39%. Caleb, 36 to 37%. Max, 34% to 39%. Kyle, 33%. He came back healthy. Been playing great in these playoffs, by the way. 33% to 40%. Gabe, 33% to 37%, which is closer to where he was shooting last season. Duncan, 33% to 37%. Just shot 73% against the Bucks. And Jimmy, obviously, he wasn't taking too many, so don't put too much stock into this. But 30% to 50%. So the shooting, 45% for the entire series, I don't think that's sustainable. That's nut shit. But I don't think they need to. I don't think they need to against any other team that they have to face anymore. Right now, with the way the Bucks play, they're gonna force Miami to take those threes, play defense, because the Bucks are gonna play drop coverage. You're gonna have those open threes and open mid-range jumpers. You're gonna force the Heat to take jumpers, but the Knicks don't play that way. Aren't going to have to. The Heat are gonna have to shoot pretty well from three because the Knicks are gonna dare them to keep this percentage up. So I'm gonna guess they're probably gonna. If they keep it within the mean of what they were in the regular season, the second half, around 38%, you don't need to shoot 45%. Jimmy doesn't have to go supernova, and he doesn't have to go supernova. We still need him to keep up this team still lacks a lot of offense with Howard on the floor. So he's gonna have to be we need a good 30 and 5 from him consistently if we're thinking winning championship here. But yeah, he doesn't need to go 37 per game in a series and do this absolutely masterful shit because you took out the biggest op already. Bam has a couple days to rest that hamstring. I know hamstring injuries take a little bit longer sometimes, but at least he gets a little bit of time. You know, maybe he comes back feeling a little bit better. But Brook Lopez is Mitchell Robinson and Brook Lopez. Brook Lopez, he doesn't have the size Brook has, and I think Bam is just a little bit too fast for him. Bam is a little bit too quick for him, and that mid-range jumper looked like it was hitting in that second half. So hopefully that shows that can hit pretty consistently. One thing about it though, he's gonna struggle. One of the reasons he was struggling in offense is because the one guy on this team that knows how to actually run a competent pick and roll with him to actually hit Bam in his spots was Tyler, and he's gone. So there's only one other guy that knows how to hit Bam on those dump offs and on those passes in the pick and roll, and that's Duncan because he runs DHO actions with Bam so much to this point so I'm glad he's getting a good amount of minutes right now because he's able to get Bam in some really nice positions. And not even just Bam needs to score, give him positions where he can make plays, get him downhill if he's going to the rim. What you did later in the game, making him the main ball handler, pulling the center out the paint because you know he can hit that mid-range jumper and allow everybody else to run the offense, flare screens, backdoor cuts, all of that. There's one set that they ran the other day. Kyle Lowry brought up the ball. When I cut this up, I'm gonna put the play over. Kyle Lowry brought up the ball, and Bam set a what am I thinking? It resulted in a K-Love 3. It was Kyle Lowry brought up the ball. I think Bam set a screen for K-Love set a screen for Duncan, and then Bam set a screen for Duncan, rolled to the corner, and then rolled a little bit, and then K-Love set a flare screen for Duncan, went to the corner. Kyle reverses the ball over to the corner to Duncan. Duncan runs the pick and roll with Bam. Brook Lopez comes up. Bam, Duncan throws a nice pass to split the pick and roll. Bam gets it, and that forces Giannis to help off K-Love. K-Love open at the top for the 3. Beautiful offense. Absolutely beautiful offense. There's no doubt about it. And it's just actions like that. You just need to put him in a position where he can make dynamic plays like that. Make him a decision maker. Keep him engaged in the game so he feels like he's a part of the offense. So you don't get those games where he just feels like there's nothing happening for him. You make him the playmaker. You keep him in positions in these games to actually be making dynamic plays. He can decide whether he wants to take that pull-up, wants to go into the rim, he wants to go towards the defender, he wants to beat the guy off the dribble, all of that. So it was fantastic for him. His defense on Giannis in the second half was absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. He held him to 1 for 7 on possessions that he guarded him. Like, there's not much more you can say about him. And of course he fouled out because, Giannis is, Mr. Run and Dunk man. And you're going to always pick up fouls on him, even though he's 7 feet tall and 240 pounds, and he's the one initiating the. We're not going to even get into that. We already beat him. No need to rub any salt into the wound. That's whatever. So on the Bam situation itself, I'm glad he did what he did in this series because that showed me that he's not cooked. Because boy, was it was looking a little bleak there for a second for him with me. It was looking bad on offense. It really, the defense was always there, but the defense is always going to be there. But for somebody to be a number 2, for us to be able to hold you the stature that we do, you need to be able to provide something on offense like that. He did that in this game 5, and I'm happy we saw it from him. And it at least lets you know that part of the reason why he's so hampered on the offensive end is because he is hurt. Now that he hasn't answered the questions yet if he can be the playoff rising scorer that we do need to be next to Jimmy, we obviously haven't seen him healthy. And if we ever get a chance to see him healthy in this playoff run, hopefully this rest is enough. Probably won't be. Hamstrings take a little minute to heal, but hopefully that's enough. and we can get to see what we're really working with Bam as a number 2 or number 3 on this team going forward. That is if some miraculous thing doesn't happen and we make a finals run. If that happens, y'all will my voice will be gone. I won't be able to make these videos if that shit happens. Um, but we got to talk about the others. Caleb, I think 3 15-point games in this season in this series. I think this last one he wasn't too involved, but I I don't care. He showed up multiple times this series for us. I specifically remember the freaking play. Jimmy misses a three. Caleb runs from the opposite corner all the way over to the other side of the court to get an offensive rebound, tap it to Jimmy. Jimmy taps it back, three in Giannis's face. I think it was a two though, and he does the three in your face thing. Goes down court. Couple plays later, comes up, pull up three. Like genuinely, some of the biggest balls. Like he was huge for us. K Love in this last game, absolutely magnificent. Now, you cooked on the defensive end. The Heat were negative 35 with him overall in this series. And, plus minus is a little bit flawed here because Jimmy was overall, I think, a negative something in this entire series by plus minus, which is insane. But K Love himself did show up. Give us some competent shooting, gave us a little bit of the size we needed on Brook Lopez. He ate up a lot of fouls that Bam probably would have ate up too. So great from him. You look like Gabe. Oh my gosh, that last game, the three he hit, 19 points. It looked like somebody told him, "Hey, yo, you need to be talented tonight. We need you to not turn down a look. You need to be dynamic in offense. You need to give us something here tonight because we need somebody else to handle the ball and actually give us that. We can't expect Jimmy to do everything." And Gabe took that to heart, and boy was he got them shots up. He took 23 this entire game. He took 14 in the first half and 9 in the second half. He was 7 for 14, 2 for 9. But guess what? One of those shots was a three he hit that saved that game for us. So I don't care. You could have went 2 for 77 in the second half. As long as you hit that shot that helped us save this game, I don't care what the hell you did. Duncan, 14 for 19 overall in this series. Didn't play too many minutes tonight. Had 1-3 tonight. We needed every point to win, so that's the one towards the win. So thank you, Duncan. But his shooting has been absolutely amazing. And those minutes in for when we couldn't get any offense going other than Jimmy, he was that offense for us. So I can't say anything more about Duncan. Like, it's honestly amazing. Max, you did have that cardio special in game 4. 0 points, rebounds, steals, blocks, all of one shooting in 17 minutes. But also Duncan was doing your job for you, so I can't say too much. But Max did his job this series. Last game he had 8. He picked up that big foul on Giannis that gave him 3 free throws to help us win that game too. He's been shooting pretty consistently this entire series. You can't say too much about him. Overall, the Heat, amazing performance. But now we got to go to the Bucks. What? As a fan on the outside watching in as the Heat, I'm so glad that the things are happening that were happening. But you just have to have a head scratch sometimes. One, we already know Bud is fired. Easy. There's no way you go not make an adjustment for the guy that dropped 56 for Drew to continuously guard him one-on-one. Especially when in the 2021 players, even though we said Jimmy was injured and he retired, Giannis still had very much success guarding Jimmy a majority of that playoff run himself too. And you just didn't try that again. You let Drew get cooked the entire series. Taking Brook Lopez out on that inbound is so funny because Budenholzer is under that Greg Popovich tree of coaches, and when you see what Greg Popovich did when he took Tim Duncan out on that play that got rated 3 when he got that rebound, it is so funny to see that come back and bite them again in a different way where you don't have any size on the at all, and you give up a alley-oop that apparently was a foul on Patton Connaughton before it was a push off on Jimmy. So hope y'all realize that led to a game tying layup. Game tying layup happening. You don't call a timeout to advance the ball. You could get something up in 0.5 seconds. You can try. It's the end of the game. It's not like it's gonna come back to bite you. You already gave up your challenge and all that shit in the first half. That's another crazy thing to do. But you do that. Then you go over to overtime where not even overtime. Let's go back to the beginning of the fourth. We're down 16 We go on an 8. It takes an 8-0 run for you to call a timeout. The moment the Heat hit 5, I was like, okay, no. Pull this plug. We need to talk something over because this is a horrible start to this fourth quarter. Then, as is going on, you make no adjust. You try to make no type of adjustment in how you run your offense when nothing was going for you. The one shot you hit from the 1 minute mark in the third to the 4-minute mark in the fourth was the step back Jrue Holiday 3. You constantly goes to Giannis's post ups. Giannis has never shown any type of comfortability in the post at all in his career for years now. I don't know why that's your offense. You go away from what was kind of working for you, and that's Chris Middleton as the playmaker, as a shot creator, even though he looked like he was scared to adjust the ball at certain points a little bit. But he wasn't getting anything done. You go away from the big to big pick and roll that was working for you in game 4 with Giannis and Brook Lopez, where Brook had 36. You go away from that pick and roll that was working magic for you. I just don't understand how you see all of this happening and you don't call a timeout. You come down the moment the ball touched Grayson Allen's hand after Giannis to Chris Middleton's hands, you call a timeout. You let him dribble down, and then for Grayson Allen for like 0.5 seconds to start a Euro is hilarious. But it's just too many mistakes here that you're gone, buddy. Jrue, again, I can't give. I know the world's smoking Drew's pack right now. I'm smoking his pack specifically for the offensive stuff, not the defensive stuff. At some point, when a guy has it going like that and your coach doesn't want to give him any other looks and he's not comfortable with you on him, this is the NBA. These are the best players in the damn world. The moment Jimmy got going like that, you didn't throw any other look on him and it was just Jrue the whole time and he's comfortable with that, you were literally leaving Jrue for dead. Sometimes there's nothing you can do. You're either going to foul these guys because you're going to foul these guys. Sometimes there's nothing you can do on the offensive end when these superstars get comfortable. There's a reason why they're superstars. They're meant to be able to make these tough shots. They're meant to make even the best defenses look like garbage. That's what Jimmy just did to Jrue. But the offensive stuff, man, you putting up tornadoes. 6 for 19. 7 of 18. Like, it's genuinely baffling to me. You go from shooting career high in 3-point attempts, 6.6, to 8.8. I don't think this is the best time to test how well your shooting volume is, especially in the playoffs, in the first round series that you're losing. But he was just getting them up, and they were bricking. Like, genuinely. Chris Middleton, I don't know what to say about you specifically, because I don't know. He's in that position where they lose, all the smoke is going to go to everybody else because he's there. He's not the best player. He's not their best defender, all of that. So he's going to get a little bit barely into the smoke, especially when the star underperforms. But Chris wasn't that great this series either. Getting cooked on defense, but you can't. He wasn't expected to be an all-NBA defender, but he's a pretty good one to get cooked on defense and making some pretty poor decisions when passing out of double teams on offense in the second half. I can't lie. So it's very, very hard for me to look at this Bucks team and just think, like, are you serious right now? Like, this is what you're going, and trading for Nick Nurse, signing Nick Nurse as a head coach is probably the best thing for them. I want to see Giannis with an actual coach that knows to adjust, and they'll be plenty harder to beat with a coach that knows to adjust. But it's hard to look at this team and not think an extra year on each of these guys' bodies ain't going to really kind of kick them out of contention for a little bit until the Bucks find a way to retool. Especially with what the new CBA just did to some of these teams that are over that second tax bracket. Oh, it is almost impossible to rebuild anything you have anymore. But Giannis, give it everything you got. But I gotta dock you from the best player in the world, Monica, right now, bro. There's no way. I'm gonna say this. This series didn't teach us anything new about Giannis. We already know everything we saw in this series. We knew that he was a poor free throw shooter, even though he had that stretch in that game 6 against the Suns where he shot 7 from 19. And that kind of showed that he's a little bit clutch. But we already knew you weren't a great free throw shooter. We already knew you weren't comfortable in the post. We already knew you don't have go-to moves on offense like that. Well, you knew all of this about Giannis. The problem is that outside that 2021 run, it's starting to look really bleak on your career. And then you look at the 2021 run and you see that you faced a basically exhausted Heat team. You then get the luckiest of breaks that Kyrie Irving's knee didn't. I mean, Kyrie Irving's ankle couldn't withstand Giannis. James Harden's hamstring, and KD's wearing a size 19 instead of a size 18. You then survived Trae Young looking like he was about to solo squad everybody. And you go to the NBA Finals, and you got lucky enough that the team that made it is the guy that has a center that can't guard a fish out of water. Other than that, 2018 choke job against the Celtics. 2019 choke job against the Raptors. 2020 choke job against us. 2022, not going. Even though you lost Chris Middleton, that was a horrific performance in that game. In that game 7, and it was a pretty horrible coaching performance in that game 6 too. But and then this, it's looking real bleak on Giannis's head for right now. And then we go to so yeah, right now I don't know who's taking up that best player in the world spot, but Giannis, I don't know if I can have you up there any more longer, buddy. But then we get to the Heat Knicks. The Heat Knicks preview. The Heat and Knicks. I'm right with the Heat, obviously. I think Heat in 6, but there's a lot of things that are going to play into this series. One, we have to talk about what the shooting is keeping up, what coverage is Top Thibodeau sending to Jimmy, because Top Thibodeau is a coach that will that's going to adjust. So Jimmy's not gonna see one Josh Hart the entire series only. It fully depends on what we get from Bam. Depending on who you see in the final. If you see the Phoenix Suns in the finals, yeah, he can. But I understand where you're coming from. I do think it's time that we do get we find a 5 and move Bam to his proper position. But that's neither here nor there. Right now, we're gonna have to play with what we got in this championship run, or in this run right now, and we're up against this Knicks team. That first things first, we need to be on that glass. Our transition buckets are gonna have to come from long rebounds on threes, steals. Long rebounds on threes, steals. But that's really it. We need to have all hands on deck on the glass. Keep this team off the boards, especially Mitchell Robinson. Bam, that is your job. If we have to double box him out to keep him off the glass, we will. Keep them off the offensive glass. We have bodies to throw at Jalen Brunson. I think Jimmy's gonna start on Jalen Brunson. Jimmy can give him trouble. He's a smaller guard too. They don't have the defense. Depending on how Julius Randle looks. The thing with Julius Randle is the things that he did to us in the regular season don't happen in the playoffs. Because guess what? You have a full 7-game series now, and you're not allowed to go left. Every single year, it's the same problem with him, and he never seems to figure out that maybe I should go right. So guess what? I'm not worried about Julius Randle, even if he does come back. I expect him to put up another tour date performance again. The problem that is going to rear its head is the shooting. Can we keep up a consistent 35%? I mean, 38, 39% for another series to take down this Knicks team. If we can keep up that percentage, then I'm gonna say that if we can keep up this shooting for another series, then I say it's legit. And then we can talk about this conference finals matchup when it does happen. Because if he keep up 38 to 40% from 3, let alone 45, we're winning this series. There's anything that's crazy for the Heat. The last series they played against a very, very underwhelming Cavs team with the way they played. Undermanned Cavs team. I had the Cavs winning it, but I guess I underestimated the lack of any type of forward depth. The inexperience. Evan Mobley not. I completely did not realize that Jared Allen is a bitch, and I did not realize that Evan Mobley was gonna get that bullied that bad. But yeah, I don't think the what you got from the Knicks. If the Knicks come into this series playing that they played against the Cavs, they're not winning. But one problem that is going to be there is RJ Barrett. He's the guy that we always force to beat us in these matchups, and he's consistently been able to put up really good performances against us. We're gonna need to check that. Um, he played really well in those last 3 games after our pretty abysmal start in those first 2. So we'll see what he's about in this series, and this is gonna answer a lot of questions not only for the Knicks with Julius Randle and RJ Barrett. Is gonna answer a couple questions about us with Bam. This is a guy that Mitchell Robinson is a rim protector, but he's not as great a rim protector as Brook Lopez is. He's a guy that shouldn't give you too much trouble on the offensive end. Bam should be able to dominate this matchup. On the other side of things, it fully depends on our bench. Kyle has been coming off our bench playing great. Caleb's been coming off the bench playing great. Haywood Highsmith has been very good on the defensive end. Wish he could hit a couple more shots here and there. Duncan's been coming off the bench looking great, but can they keep this up against a very, I would consider, superior Knicks bench? With Emmanuel Quickly, with Hartenstein, Obi Toppin, all those. I do think it's a superior Knicks bench. Definitely a lot more athletic. Brings their energy a lot more consistently night in and night out. But I trust the shooting to be able to keep at a 38% clip, and I trust that Jimmy's going to be able to at least give us some 30-point performances in the series. And I do think Bam and overall a team effort on the boards will be able to help this team pull out this series against the Knicks in most likely 6 games. But yeah, that is the end. We got 0 people in here at the right time. That is the end of this stream. Yeah, but subscribe to the channel, like up the stream, hit the like button on the stream. We're gonna be doing this every now and then. For whoever is in here, we had a full conversation about Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, the others on this Heat team, the Bucks overall, and what this Knicks Heat series looks like. So you can go back at different points in this stream. I'm talking about either one of them, but it's overall been a fantastic playoffs to watch. Thank y'all for tuning in. But with that being said, this FLB, that's my time, and I'm out.